Don't just live for tomorrow, or just live in yesterday. Just be glad for all you have that's in today. And though you've come through many obstacles.
Hey everyone, Connie here, and welcome to the next part of our 2021 Halloween special, week 4, and that is for the Purge Anarchy. So, I believe it was last year, actually, when we reacted to the Purge, the first one. And so now we're finally getting to the second one. And, yeah, I don't know how this plot follows the entire general basis of it, but for those who, for whatever reason, may not know or whatnot, the idea is that one night a year, the Purge happens. It is a government-sanctioned event, you could say, where for that night, all crime is legal. All crime, no matter what it is, including murder, rape, anything. For that night, all crime is legal, and anything can happen. It's basically a madhouse. The idea the government gave for it was basically something along the lines of, well, we as humans suck. We have a terrible, sinful nature, so let's just have one night a year, get it all out, and then the rest of the year, we're good. We're good. And it's just like, that's gross. That's a really gross concept. But you know, people, we do suck. And so people do take part in it. The first movie followed a family as they were being basically tortured by a specific group of people. And it was really good, actually. The acting was great. The concept, while really gross and horrible and disgusting, was great. It was handled well. Everything was well written. It was genuinely upsetting. And it had even some surprises and twists in it. Now, I don't know exactly where this goes from here. I don't know if we're following any of the same characters, or if it's just a completely different situation on a different purge. I don't know if there's going to be any big changes to things happening here. I don't know. I do know that there's multiple other movies for this. I believe a couple of them are called Election Year, and then there's one called The Forever Purge. I can guess what the Forever Purge is about. Like, that one is pretty self-explanatory. Election Year, though, is a little more complicated. I'm not sure exactly how that's going to affect things. And I know there's a series as well. There's like a TV series that was like 1 or 2 seasons or something. But overall, I don't actually know where this series goes in terms of plot or anything. So I'm definitely interested to keep finding out. And so we'll see how it goes. Because again, I really liked the first movie. I thought it was really good. And I've heard that the movies do kind of get less good as time goes on. But as always, I will judge that on my own experience watching them, rather than on other people's reviews and thoughts. Because I don't always agree with everyone. So, hopefully, I end up continuing to enjoy these. I hope it's not too much of the exact same thing. Like, I wanted to switch things up a little bit. Because there's more they could do. And more they could show than just the murder, you know? Because there's more crimes when you think about it. It's like all crime is legal for one night. It's like, yeah, murder, of course, that's going to be a big thing to focus on. It's like, how are you going to make a movie about focusing on, like, theft and stuff? But it's like there is more that they could showcase and focus on and feature to some degree. it's just I feel like they don't have to have the movie be entirely murder and nothing but. And I don't want it to necessarily focus just on, we have this family who's trying to stay out of the purge and they end up getting like forced into it by these other people who just want to purge. It's like, I don't want that to be the same story every time. There's a lot of opportunities for other ways they could handle this. A lot of opportunities to really do this well. The concept has a lot of wiggle room, believe it or not. And so it's like, hopefully they take advantage of that. We'll have to see. We will have to see. Another big thing is the family in the first movie was pretty well off. I believe like the father sold security systems or something like that, and because of the purge and stuff like that, they were actually really well off. They had a nice house and everything. I want to also see not all of these focus on people like that. I want to see focus on the less fortunate of our country too. I want to see focus on not necessarily super poor people, not necessarily like in the worst situations, but people who are more of the norm for America, like the lower middle class kind of people who are getting by, basically just getting by. And I just want to see focus on different things with these going forward. Because again, there's just so much opportunity here, and I don't want to see it wasted on just the same thing over and over again. We'll see. We will see. But yeah, so this is the second to last part of our Halloween special. Our last one will be next week. But I'll talk more about that in the afterthoughts. So, for the meantime, let us just get into this and hope for the best. I don't know what to expect, but I'm excited to finally get to another Purge film, so let's do so. When the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black and then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the movie. So, that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So, this was another great Purge movie. It was really well done, but I have to look up something here. And to be fair, I probably could have done this in between recording, but I just didn't think about it. Or it's just I just didn't. Anyways, I need to find out what happened to the wife. Okay, it just says that Liz chose to stay. It doesn't go anything past that. And apparently, the sergeant's name was Leo Barnes. Okay. Oh, and the young ghoul faces they're called, the skull faced people, that was Lakeith Stanfield. I didn't even realize that. I didn't recognize him. So that's interesting too. Anywho, Anywho, so yeah, this one had a lot more focus on different groups of characters, different types of people, and I really like that because it's exactly what I wanted from this. The first one was very focused on one family. They were a well-off not super wealthy or anything, but a well-off financially family who had to deal with actually getting involved for once with the purge and everything due to these people coming after them. This time we actually get to see multiple points of view. We get 3 groups of people who all converge into one throughout the film. We have this couple who are on the verge of separation due to, I guess, just not being as in love as they used to be. We don't really get like strong reasonings, and I don't think it's really needed to go too in depth to that. But they're on the verge of separation, and things are not going well. We have this mother, her father and daughter all living in the same house. They're very poor off. The couple, by the way, seems to probably be middle class, just maybe middle lower class. They don't seem to be as poor off. But then we have this mother and her daughter and their father who are very poor. They're not doing well. The mother keeps getting like ignored for her pleas for a raise from her diner job, and it's not working out. They're having troubles, and so the father ends up sacrificing himself to these rich people to be a purge victim in their kind of style. The rich people pay exorbitant amounts of money because they can, to have these poor people basically come into their houses and allow them to purge in safety. So the father does this to get his daughter and granddaughter money, which I assume probably does happen, like in terms of like after the fact. Like they probably do get the money, as fucked up as it is. But we follow the mother and daughter, who again are more on the poorer spectrum, and then we follow this former military sergeant, who he looks probably middle class as well from the little bit we see of his home, maybe lower middle class, but he doesn't seem to be as poor off based on the little bit of context we get for that from. He doesn't seem to be as poor off as the mother and daughter are. We see that he is divorced from his wife. She has a new husband and everything, and his entire thing throughout this film is he wants revenge for his son who was killed, as we find out. And we find out it wasn't even a purge thing. He was killed in a drunk driving accident. So that's almost kind of worse, that it wasn't even during the purge. It was just a normal everyday thing. But he's vengeful. He's bought and collected all these different weapons and all this stuff to protect himself, prepared for what's going to happen. He's even armored up his car, even though that doesn't end up helping because the enemies end up having armor-piercing rounds, but still. He's even armored up his car. So he's probably at least, I would probably say upper middle class, actually. Just to be able to afford all of that. Like, he's probably got some level of money. But this movie also focuses on the rich elite, which the last movie touched on a little bit, but didn't really focus on. This one we get to see the rich elite taking part by having these groups of people go around and instead of like actually killing people themselves, they just kidnap people to get money and sell these people to the rich people. And it's like, that's still horribly fucked up. It's basically human trafficking in a way. And so we see the rich people then use this opportunity to auction off the rights to hunt these civilians for sport. And it's like, oh my God, this is fucked up. But it's like, again, I think that rich people would probably do this shit, as horrible as it sounds. I think that this kind of shit would probably happen. And we also get to see this angle from this resistance group, this anti-purge resistance group, who are just trying to put a stop to it. And their view is that the only way to end it is to basically take part in it, but only to go after the rich elite assholes, to only go after those who are either in the government or the rich elite who are basically causing this all to happen. So we get a bunch of different angles in this one, and I really liked that. We do get a main character death, with the one guy, the husband, but at least, well, and technically I guess the father, but he wasn't really a main character, he was more of a supporting role. But luckily our big three ones, the three that I was the most invested in, are the ones who survived: the sergeant and the mother and daughter. And the wife survived too, so that's great too. But yeah, it seems like she's going to join the resistance group, which I wonder if they'll show up in future installments. I would hope so. But the action and everything was just as good. I like that we have the idea of the government actually taking part in it themselves to supplement things. But the reasoning, it's like, holy fuck. It's like, oh, the civilians aren't killing each other as much anymore, so we have to get involved and supplement things to make sure enough people die. And it's like, you're basically admitting that you're doing this, that the entire reason for the purge is to not to have people cleanse themselves of their impure thoughts or anything, but to lower the population of non rich people, of anyone who's not in the 1%, basically. You're basically admitting everything that the resistance group is saying. And it's like, I mean, he was thinking he was about to kill the guy, so of course he wasn't expecting to, or for that to get out or anything, but, and even if it does, it probably won't be taken seriously by the majority of the things, are going to be spun. It's just, as hard as it is, it's like, it's not going to help stop anything. And that's the big question that you have to like look into with the future of this. How would you even go about stopping something like this? Because that would be the goal. That would be the desired outcome for this series of movies, to see it end. But the fact that one of the movies is called The Forever Purge is not exactly, it doesn't actually sound that hopeful. The actors all did a great job. They were all very believable. There was moments that were shocking, like the entire thing with the friend and her family, when her sister just shot her up and just started this entire thing there. And it's just like, I did not see that coming at all. I thought that the armies were going to come in and take them out. I did not expect at all the sister to start shooting things up. And for this poor woman, Ava's best, for basically what could be seen as her best friend and co-worker, to just be murdered by her sister like that, it's like, oh my god. And it's like, the one guy was the best friend's brother-in-law, right? So that means it was the sister, the one who shot everyone up. It was her husband. So she was talking about cheating and everything. So did the friend and the brother-in-law cheat with each other? Did they sleep together? Is that what it was? That's kind of what I'm getting. That's kind of what I got from that. But even so, that's not a reason for murdering your sister, nor is it a reason for everything that followed. And it's just like, Jesus. And it's like, it's just, these movies are very well made, but they also show you the worst parts of humanity that do exist. People like this exist. If the purge happened in real life, you bet your ass people would take part in it. People would actively revel in taking part of it. 100%. And you bet your ass the things that the rich people were shown to be doing in this, you bet your ass they would do that. And it's fucked up. It's horribly fucked up that so many humans are like this. It bothers me. These movies bother me, but at the same time, again, they are so well made that I kind of can't help but get into them to some degree. I enjoy watching them, luckily knowing that they're not real. But it also really upsets me because there are people who are just outright terrible like this in the world. And it's horrible. It's unbelievably horrible that there are people who could even think anything, even slightly similar to this, would be okay. Or even things that may not seem similar at all, but in the end still get people killed in real life. There's so many out there who defend so many just decisions and whatnot by the government, so many policies that kill people, that get people killed because they're so hateful and so full of evil. Yet they're policies that some politicians and some civilians and rich assholes just will latch onto. They don't care that people will die because of them. And it's sick. And so it's like you see this kind of has precedence. This series of movies has precedence in reality with just how people already are and the things they're already doing. And it's sick. I like, again, as I said, I like that we had all these different groups, but I also like that there were different groups of enemies too. Because again, in the first one, you really only had one set of enemies to worry about. But in this movie, you had the ghoul faces, as they're apparently called from what I looked up, the skull-faced people. You had the government, who were in the big trucks. You had just random people going around. You had the rich elites. You had a bunch of different groups of enemies that you had to worry about. And it's like, again, with what this movie did as well, that makes sense. Because unlike the first film, which was just pretty much inside the one family's house, this one, you had our characters going all throughout the town, going from place to place, one cover to another. So you definitely are going to come across a lot more. It makes sense. So honestly, I thought this movie was extremely well made, just like the first one. It's upsetting to watch. It's horrible, but it's so well made. It's a good movie. It is. And you can genuinely admit and acknowledge the movie is good, but it still makes you uncomfortable. And this is definitely one of those. And it's a good movie for this time of year, too, because even though it's not like monsters or supernatural shit or anything like that, it's still very much horror. Unquestionably, this is horror. It's just a different kind of horror. And it's insane. So, yeah. I did enjoy watching this, but it just still disturbed me, so that's kind of my final thoughts on that. But tell me in the comments below, what did you think of the Purge Anarchy? How do you think this went? What do you think of the acting, the just ways it differentiated itself from the first movie? Let me know all of that and more down in the comments below. And hell, maybe at some point we will return to the next Purge movie in line. Even if it ends up taking until next year's Halloween special, I do want to continue reacting to these films and all. And maybe even the series at some point. Because even though they're disturbing and everything, they're well made. At least so far. But that leads us into next week. Next Sunday is Halloween Day, October 31st. And that means it is our final day, our final week of the 2021 Halloween special. Last year, we ended off the Halloween special very fittingly with Halloween, the 2018 Halloween movie to be specific. This year, we're going to do things a little different because although Halloween Kills just came out, it just came out in theaters and all, so not really able to react to that yet. I don't know when it comes to any kind of streaming service, but we'll probably react to that at some point. But this year we're ending off our 2021 Halloween special with the sequel to what is perhaps one of, if not my favorite horror movie of all time. The sequel to the amazing South Korean zombie film Train to Busan. We will be watching Peninsula. And I've heard some mixed things on it. But we'll see. We'll judge it for ourselves, as always. And kind of just see how it goes. See how good it is compared to the original Train to Busan. And see how it stands even on its own merits. So that will be next week's final Halloween special. And as a note, because this is kind of important, as I mentioned in the video about next week, about Youmacon week and everything, I'm probably going to upload this to at least Google Photos early. And then I'm going to have it so that the YouTube video is going to be scheduled to upload on the 31st. Because I'm going to be away at Youmacon that weekend, and I don't know when I'll be back. So just to keep safe, meaning there might not be a BitChute link on the video until I'm able to come back and get that uploaded on BitChute. Since I don't really want to put it on BitChute ahead of time, because then everyone's going to be able to see it ahead of time on BitChute if they just go to my BitChute page anyway. So it's like, I don't think I'm going to do that. But yeah, I could probably keep you guys updated in the community tab that is now on our channel. If you go to the channel page, you can see the community tab on there, so I can keep you guys updated on there. Or on the Discord, which is linked to in the description below. I tend to keep updates on there as well. But either way, I thank you all so much for tuning in. And like I said, tell me your thoughts on this film down below. And for now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. For now, I'll see you all next time. So, yeah, I ruined that sign off. See you all next time.